Hey everybody, we are back and better than ever. And we're still in topic 6 right now, dividing decimals. But up to this point, we've only ever seen whole number divisors. We've only ever seen whole number divisors. We haven't seen a decimal there yet. Until today. Today we are going to tackle decimal divisors. And it's not as hard as you might think. It's actually very similar to what we did with whole number divisors, but there's just an added extra step in there. And it might be a little bit hard to understand. So if at any point during this video you feel like you just don't have a full grasp on what we're doing, if you have some questions, this is going to be the video where you have to recognize that and come to the mini lesson. Okay? If there was ever a mini lesson or ever a video where you need to be honest with yourself and see if you have any questions, this is that video. So let's jump right into it. So when we're dividing, there it is. When we're dividing a decimal by a decimal, there's an extra step that we have to take. If you look on here, I kind of explain it. If there is a decimal in the divisor, you must multiply by either 10 or 100 to make the number in the divisor a whole number. If you do this to the divisor, you must multiply the same number in the dividend. So just to say that again, in order to divide a decimal by a decimal divisor, we need to turn that decimal in the divisor into a whole number. We have to. We have to turn it into a whole number. And whatever we do to our divisor in order to make it a whole number, we have to also do to our dividend. So if you look at this first problem, I'm just going to number these 1, 2, 3, 4 to make it a little bit easier. For that first problem, we have to multiply 3 2/10 by 10 in order to make it a whole number. So I did that here. 3 2/10 times 10 equals 32. Whatever I do to my divisor, I have to do to my dividend. So I did the same thing to my dividend. 6 4/10 times 10 equals 64. Because my divisor tells me what I need to multiply by. My divisor tells me what I need to multiply by. That's where I look first. So I look to my divisor, notice, hey, I need to move this decimal point one place. I need to multiply by 10. I do the same thing in my dividend. So my new problem turns into 64 divided by 32 instead of 6 4/10 divided by 3 2/10. And now I'm able to do that problem. For number 2, it's the same thing. 3 2/10 is my divisor. I need to multiply by 10. I get 32. But my dividend is 64 hundredths. 64 hundredths times 10 equals 6 4/10. So now my new problem is 6 4/10 divided by 32. Those are the examples where you have to multiply by 10. Divisor and dividend both need to be multiplied by 10. We might have to multiply by 102 as in number 3. I have 32 hundredths. In order to get that to a whole number, I need to move my decimal point 2 times. I need to multiply by 100, or 10 squared. Multiply 32 hundredths times 100, I get 32, right down here. And it works out because 64 hundredths times 100 equals 64. So I'm back to my new problem of 64 divided by 32. But the last case scenario is if I have 6 4/10 divided by 32 hundredths, I'm still multiplying by 100 because I'm looking in my divisor. My dividend can be a decimal, we know that. My dividend can stay just like that, but my divisor can't be a decimal, it has to be a whole number. So I have to multiply 32 hundredths times 100 to get 32, but when I multiply 6 4/10 times 100, I get 640. So my new problem turns into 640 divided by 32. Let's try doing it. Let's try doing it. And please, if you have questions now, please come now to the mini lesson so that way I can help you out a little bit. All right? Well, let's try these first two. Let's stay with me and let's look at these. So I'm going to look at my divisor first, and I have 7/10. I need to multiply 7/10 by 10 in order to make it a whole number. So 7/10 times 10 equals 7. And then 4 and 2/10 times 10, because whatever I do to my divisor, I have to do to my dividend, is 42. So my new problem is 42 divided by 7. And this is pretty simple. The 7 goes into 42 6 times. And I'm done. So my quotient is 6. Let's look at the second one. 4 and 52/100 divided by 2/10. Same thing. I need to multiply by 10 to get 2. 4 and 52/100 times 10 is 45 and 2 tenths. 45 and 2/10. So now I divide 45 and 2/10 divided by 2. I know there's not a lot of room. If you want to do these on the sides, that would be great. But same rules apply. I'm just going to put my decimal point right up into there. And this is actually going to be 22 and 6/10. My decimal point, those rules still apply, just goes right up into my quotient. So goes in 22 and 6/10. So now I want you to try 3 and 4. Do those two problems. Make sure you're changing your divisors into whole numbers. Do those two problems. Come back with your answers, and we'll check. 3, 2, 1. Pause the video. All right, look here. For number 3, my quotient ended up being 9/100. And for 4, my quotient ended up being 2 and 4/10. Do those two, if those two problems gave you trouble, please pause the video, come up to the front by me. But if you got those two right, or you can figure out where you went wrong, let's move on to what we've all been waiting for. Annexing zeros. It works the same way, but there's just that added step in. I'm just going to go to a new page, but I'm still on that page right there. So 5 was 37 and 2/10 divided by 2 and 4/10. First things first, 2 and 4/10, I have to multiply by 10 to get 24. 37 and 2/10 times 10 equals 372. So now I have 24, and my dividend is 372. 24 goes into 37 once. Goes into 132, actually 5 times. And 5 times 24 is 120. Subtract, I have 12 left over. I need to annex a 0. Put my decimal point in, put it right in my quotient as well, bringing it right up. And add a 0. Bring it down. And that goes in 5 times. That's 120. And we're good. Let's look at 6. Again, I have to multiply by 10 in order to get my divisor into a whole number. I do the same thing with my dividend. New problem. 5 is my divisor. 252 is my dividend. And let's see. 5 goes into 2, 0 times into 25. 5 times, and that's 25. I'll bring down my 2. 5 does not go into 2. It goes in 0 times. Make sure you put that 0 up here. This is the time where we have a 0 in our quotient. 0 times 5 is 0. Still have 2. I need to annex a 0 here. 5 goes into 20. I'm going to put in my decimal points 4 times. All right, on the bottom of that page, you have 7 and 8. And you're going to need to look at those problems, multiplying by 100 for our divisors. See if you can't solve these two problems. You're going to need to annex a 0. You're going to need to multiply and change your divisor into a whole number. But see if you can do these two. All right, 3, 2, 1, pause, go. All right, here we go. Our new problem, 324 divided by 48. We had to annex 2 zeros there. We got 6 and 75 For number 8, we actually had to annex the zeros beforehand. 90 times 100 is 9,000. 45 goes into 90 2 times evenly. So there we go. That's already it. And then we just pull down those zeros. It goes into zeros 0 times. We go to the end with zeros. 45 goes into 9,200 times. 45 hundredths goes into 90 200 times. If you have any questions, please come find me. Come see me. I'll answer them. We can do some practice problems. If not, if you're feeling good, move on to your practices. Great job today, everybody. This is Mr. Fidel signing off.